Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is Dirk Becker.
Hi, Dirk.
Or Dirk Marcus Becker.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an activist.
Yeah.
And the way I do my activism is by growing food and encouraging others to enter into deeper, broader, more meaningful, more global conversations as to where we've come from, where we are, how we got here, where we'd like to go, and what are we going to do differently now to get us where we actually would like to go. People who know me, it's kind of a love thing or hate thing. If you meet 100 people who know me, most of them will say very intense, very passionate, he would do anything for you, great guy, and then you'll meet a few people that say, you know, I can't stand the guy. Yeah. But you won't meet anyone that says, oh, Dirk, either way, 6 of one, half a dozen the other, you know.
Yeah. Dirk, who's he?
Yeah.
Don't know him.
Yeah.
This is your alarm clock.
Yeah. Hooker. Cut your fucking head off. So once we become disconnected from nature, I think we could become disconnected from life itself. And so what we then create out of that, or as a result from that, which then we refer to as life, is not really life at all. I mean, imagine how many people, particularly women, get up every morning and they get their children ready, they pack them some kind of lunch, and they put them in a vehicle and they drive them to a place and give them to strangers, some of which work for minimum wage and have very little training and very little interest maybe in your child per se, called daycare. And why do they do this? They do this to free up time so they can drive the same minivan to work to make money. And why do they drive this minivan to work to make money? To pay for the minivan that they need to drive their child to daycare, so they can drive the minivan to work so they can make money to buy fuel and insurance for the minivan, so they can drive the minivan to work to make money to pay for daycare, so they can drive a minivan with fuel and insurance to work. Yeah. So it's you know, we enter into a collective insanity to the point where we actually don't know that we're insane. You know, because when you're all insane, you're all fine, right?
Yeah.
Like if you put a whole bunch of really, you know, insane people on an island, no one's going to say we're all insane. No, they'd just be all running around happy and laughing, right? You know, like put all the ADD people on an island, we could be completely fine, you know, right? You know, put all the introverts, withdrawn introverts, or all the very Asperger people, they're all completely fine. And so I just see society as we've lost our way. Yeah. We really lost our way as a species. Land, machines not allowed on the land. So
no machines on the land, eh?
Yeah. Just because the number one growing ingredient is oxygen. Right. So even with weeding, we don't put our hand on the land.
Okay. So when you came here, it was kind of like this?
Yes, actually, here's back there we actually purposely left a spot that you can actually shoot and say, so this is, you know, this is the original land, right? So everything is just we built on top of the gravel, right?
Right. So is that why it's called Compassion Farm? That you had empathy? You had a feeling that...
It's funny, and a lot of people ask that. It's called Compassion Farm because after spending some time in an ashram and doing a number of studies in the yogic teachings and, you know, like the work of Krishnamurti, etc., I came to the conclusion that, you know, it's something that I need to learn. I need to learn to have more compassion for myself and others. Right. And then I realized that the compassion that I have for others needs to be somehow practically lived out. And so here we are, growing food, and being more compassionate, as it were, towards, you know, land and people. So even killing an insect, like let's say right now I found a grasshopper eating, you know, some of our crops which we need in order to be able to, you know, pay the bills.
Right.
So something as simple as killing a grasshopper, I wouldn't just throw it to the chickens necessarily, or step on it. I would very consciously pick it up and with reverence crush its head very quickly.
Right.
So I'm showing reverence and respect, at least that I recognize this as a creature that has some kinds of awareness and nerves and feeling, and so if I'm going to kill it, at least kill it consciously, right? Not just like, oh, there's a grasshopper, and keep talking.
Right.
But actually go, okay, I am choosing to do this. And at least, you know, so we really make an effort to live our life in a not just a meaningful way, but in a conscious way, knowing that everything I do affects everyone and everything. Even a little baby chick, only a couple days old, out of an egg, you throw a worm in here, and the chick will pick up the worm, and rather than eat it, it'll run around, round and around and around with all the other chicks chasing it to show that it's dominance. Right? Now, this is only 2 days old. So it hasn't even learned to compete yet. It's just naturally competing. Well, this desire to get out of the city and to, you know, live a different life, didn't know exactly how to do that. Just felt drawn, felt repelled by the city, and felt drawn by being closer to nature. And so the natural thing after 15 years of activism and never having grown any of my own food and eating a lot of soy, it was kind of natural to put some seeds in the ground because, you know, I'd seen my mother do that. And poof, here was this garden, and the taste and the experience of growing our own food and how that connected me back to myself. I didn't realize how disconnected I'd become after living in Vancouver for 30 years, and so then moving to Nanaimo was this huge revelation, and I suddenly instantly became an environmental activist, Friends of Clackamas Sound and Wilderness Committee, and really went back to nature and back to the land, and bought a canoe and started canoeing and camping again, and so that was like the first step, and that's what very much drew me into environmental activism. But after 10-15 years of environmental activism and fighting against everything, that also wasn't working. So what was the next step? And the next step was just through Buddhism and yogic principles, Krishnamurti and other such writings, realizing the bigger problem was not cities and just consumption, but unconsciousness. And so if I flash forward to today, the food for me, food, farming, farmers and farmland is really about something I hide behind. It's really a tool that I can reach people. Because some people you reach them with save the whales, save the bears, save the seals, save the trees, save the dogs, but you'll virtually reach everyone with, do you eat? Do you have any health issues? Do your children have any allergies? Boy, this tastes good, doesn't it? Wow, this will give you more energy. Ultra marathoners eat this. And so food, farming, farmers and farmland has been an amazing tool for me to reach people.
You get some ducks in there?
Yeah, we have ducks every day, great blue heron, and we've, last year we had our merganser have 9 babies. So that was crested merganser.
You have a fence that's up to code, I hope?
Again, using food and nutrition and children as a tool, as a means, as a medium to have a broader discussion of what's gone wrong with our society. Because once you get into food, then you start asking where it's from and how animals are treated and how far it's traveled and the 100-mile diet, and it opens up a whole bunch of other ways of looking at the world and thinking. And so once you delve into food, you go down the proverbial food rabbit hole. And so our values have become skewed because all of us, including me to whatever degree, have bought into that I am here to work, to make money, to consume. And if I don't do that, the world, which we refer to loosely as the economy, our world as we know it collapses. And so all of us are these little busy bees with no real purpose other than consuming.
Yeah.
So I'm born, I go to school for 12 years, and then I learn nothing. And then if my parents have money and I have the wherewithal, which fortunately I didn't, which saved me, then I go to university, all in a quest to get a better paying job in order to get more stuff. And that would work okay if we had infinite resources, but we have this finite world. And the rainbows gather warmth, of course, in the water. And so all of us have invested in this society. We've gone to school. We engage in festivities like Mother's Day and Father's Day and other hallmark money-making days, when and Valentine's and Thanksgiving and Christmas. We've invested heavily in many beliefs, particularly in our economic system, and that we all kind of pitch in and we all work hard and we all make money and we all pay in and we all benefit. And so when anyone does anything that deviates from that, like someone who's a squatter, someone who lives in the street, someone who's a musician who just wants to be a panhandler, or people who want to organic farm in a residential zoned area, it's not just threatening like the next door neighbor, and he's afraid of noise or smell or animals or flies or cougars or bears and all the other things he's suggested that could happen. It calls into question everything he or she believes. Because when you present something different, like I want to, let's say, wear my turban into the Legion, or I want to wear earrings in my ears or tattoos, or it immediately results in other people feeling threatened. So on some level, what I've come to is the realization is that on some level, as a species, we live with a tremendous degree of insecurity and fight and flight, like animals do, and so we create these structures to make us feel more secure, right? Like houses and cars with airbags and guns and jails and that kind of thing. And there's other kinds of things that make us feel secure, like believing that we all came from God, and that Jesus is Lord, and so we create something called the Bible, or a whole bunch of series of beliefs and festivities and rituals. And so when anyone, whether it's Gandhi or Martin Luther or you, deviates from the norm, from what we've invested in a society as to be the way it is, then the majority of people are going to react to your suggestions. So yes, the work Nicole and I do here, we have lots of positive reactions, and we have some very negative reactions. Very little in between. The sorrel, because it has a lot of life force in the roots. If you think we can cover that, then that way.
No.
So Nicole and I work very hard to create something and to demonstrate something that works, that other people have a reaction, a response, let's say, that says, that's kind of cool. I like that. I'd like to try that. We've been talking about that. And so what's happened, even in the last 5 years, we've gone from like 2 or 3 couples coming per year and wanting to talk to us about how they can do it, or they want some support doing it. Now we have more like 12 couples coming per year that say, we found a piece of land, we're doing it on our parents' land, we are leasing a piece of land. At the very least, how do we get a piece of land? Will you help us? Will you show us how to do? We want to do what you're doing. And they can be anywhere from their 20s to their 60s. And so that suggests 2 things. One is that the trend is changing, that people are wanting to go this way too. They want to go back to move forward. And the other is that Nicole and I have become effective in creating and demonstrating a model that is attracting people that want to change the way they live.
Beautiful.